Empirical data proves an IQ over 130 is actually a neurological risk factor. While it is framed as a biological advantage, it correlates with statistically higher rates of depression, ADHD, and autoimmune disease. We operate under the assumption that high intelligence is a lottery ticket to a better life. The smartest people are expected to move through the world with ease, accumulating success and systemic integrity along the way. In the 1920s, psychologist Louis Terman tested this assumption through a massive longitudinal study of gifted children. He spent decades tracking these termites, expecting to map a clear path to human thriving. The results broke the model. Extraordinary intellect did not predict happiness. At best, being a genius made no measurable difference in how satisfied these individuals were with their lives. Terman eventually found that gifted individuals were actually at a higher risk for personal instability, recording divorce and suicide rates that exceeded the national average. If extreme intelligence is such a potent evolutionary advantage, why does it systematically make people miserable? Look at the baseline for human happiness. The Savanna Theory suggests that our brains evolved to thrive in small, tightly connected tribes, where frequent social interaction was essential for survival. Yet people with very high IQs tend to reject this tribal behavior. They often choose social isolation, pulling away from the groups and rituals that most people rely on for connection. This chart tracks life satisfaction against social contact. For the statistical majority, happiness rises as they spend more time with friends. But for high IQ individuals, the pattern inverts. More social contact predicts lower life satisfaction. This behavior isn't necessarily a result of poor social skills or being rejected by the group. Instead, these brains find low-stake social rituals, like small talk or repetitive group activities, biologically unrewarding. For them, deep engagement with a complex, long-term problem provides a higher psychological return than a casual gathering. Their social isolation is a functional byproduct. They are prioritizing depth of engagement over the breadth of tribal contact. This preference for depth introduces a persistent mental weight, explaining why brilliant minds are so frequently plagued by depression. Psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski identified the root of this as overexcitabilities. Giftedness involves a physical, heightened reactivity of the central nervous system. The brain processes reality with intense, multifaceted sensitivity that others never experience. This neurological trait appears in many eminent thinkers and artists. Figures like Ernest Hemingway suffered from a specific form of existential depression rooted in this intense awareness. While an average brain filters out the inconsistencies and systemic flaws of daily life, a gifted mind perceives them as spontaneous, unavoidable threats. They see the absurdities of existence that others are evolutionarily tuned to ignore. For these individuals, chronic existential dread is the inevitable tax of processing reality without cognitive filters. If the brain is trapped in the state of chronic overexcitement, what happens to the rest of the body? This hyper-brain, hyper-body diagram maps how a high-performance mind bidirectionally degrades the immune system. High cognitive capacity leads to psychological overexcitabilities, locking the mind in persistent rumination. This mental chatter constantly activates the HPA axis, the body's fight-or-flight response system. The human body cannot sustain a fight-or-flight state indefinitely. Chronic activation causes systemic wear and tear, eventually reducing the immune system's ability to function. This bar chart shows the results of that breakdown. Highly intelligent individuals, shown in the dark red bars, face a significantly higher prevalence of environmental allergies, asthma, and autoimmune disease when compared to the national average. Extreme intelligence effectively weaponizes the brain's processing power against the body's own immune system. Superior intelligence functions as an incredibly expensive, high-maintenance biological operating system. This level of processing power requires a steep biological tax our society completely overlooks. The anxiety, the social isolation, and the physical sensitivities aren't personal failures. They are the physiological byproducts of a hyperactive system trying to survive in an evolutionarily novel world. The next time you wish you were the smartest person in the room, remember the cost.